Hey, I just wanted to show y'all how to make custom autograders. Um, so if you want to do that, if you go over to Create, and then Create New Assignment. Now, if you do this, this is only going to work to check methods. And on a lot of them, that's what you're going to want, is you're just going to want to check to see whether their method works the way that it's supposed to. But to do more complicated autograders, you're actually going to want to pick coding exercise. Okay, and I'm going to pick Java, and we can have our title and all of our info here. This is the starting code. Notice on this one, unlike the other autograded stuff, you can have additional files here. So if you want to have your own class already loaded there that they're using, you can have that. All that sort of stuff you can have here. Now you'll notice this has no autograder. But when you close it out, hopefully it should pop up here at the top. You can go to Autograder Editor, and you can do that and add an autograder. I'm going to be using just the regular Java autograder. Now, it's really intimidating when you first look at it because there's all these different files. But the only one you need to look at is this one, the one that says grader. Okay. Now, all of this is just trying to give you hints of some different ways to do that. So actually, if you read these real careful, like it'll give you some info, but really all we're going to be doing is editing this stuff down here. And again, it's giving you some examples. So if you look through some of the different examples, it'll do stuff for you. The main thing that you need on an autograder is these three pieces right here. You need to create a new autograder. At the end, you need to print that grader, and somewhere along the line, either one time or many times, you need to do this. You need to do grader.assert equal. Now this is going to be what your students see as like the name of the test that you're running. Then you're comparing two things. This should be the student's answer. This should be your answer. Now, this could be just about anything. It's basically, for those of you who are comfortable enough with this stuff, it's basically running dot equals to see if this thing is equal to this thing. So this could be an int, this could be a Boolean, this could be a string. I'm going to give you some examples here in a second. This is what it says if they're correct. This is what it says if they're wrong. So you can change that to whatever you want. But what you're going to see is we can run this a bunch of different times on a bunch of different things. Okay. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to show you just some different examples that I already have cooked up. Okay, so here's some templates that I made for different types of custom autograders. Let's look at my output checker. So this is a very basic autograder where all we're trying to figure out is did their output match your output? Okay. Now look over here. We have the same things that we started with, except I have made a new file and I called it My Program Solution. There's nothing special about that. You don't have to call it that. And I have my output. Okay.
So here, what we're doing, okay, we have those three parts that I mentioned before. We're making the autograder, we're printing the grader, and here we're checking, does their output match your output? So what we do is we use these where we're creating a new instance of my program, a new instance of my program solution. There's nothing special about these names. They just have to match. So this one matches my program solution, and then whatever their class is called is what this has to be called. Okay? Then we run the main method, and then we get the output from those programs, and then we check if those are the same. Okay? Now, if you use this template, and I'll share this template with you, you don't have to change much. Really, you don't have to change anything. This is going to check, does your output match the other one's output? The main thing that you're going to have to change is this. You can put other things over here to check if it matches the output. Let's see what this looks like. So if I check this, test output, you'll notice it says what we put in that blank there, and it's sending the message that we said to send. Okay, and it's comparing their stuff to my output. So, and now it should check correct. Okay, so again, this template right here, you pretty much wouldn't have to edit at all. Okay. Now, if you have inputs, it gets a little more complicated. Here's the version with inputs. I've chosen to do mine in a 2D array. So basically, this is one particular input or set of inputs. This is another set of inputs, and so on. And you could have as many. So this is like they said hello, hit enter, hit world, hit enter. So the number of inputs here should match the number of inputs that they're asking for. Okay, so I've got my inputs up here. Again, we could add more if we want. And if you had 3 inputs per time that you run, you would need to have a third on each line here. But I don't, so let's do this. Now what I'm doing is I'm looping through my inputs. And each time I'm setting the input to that whatever line that I'm currently on, and then I run. And then I set the inputs again, and then I run again with my solution. So my solution right here, you'll see I'm asking for 2 things, and I'm giving it 2 things. Okay. It's important that every time you run, because this is going to check multiple things, that we clear the output each time. Again, this is a template that you wouldn't have to change too much. You'd mostly just be changing this up here. Let's see what this looks like. So again, if I'm running this, hello world, okay, and let's see what it looks like here. So it's running different inputs, and we're getting different outputs. Let's try one where they're writing a method. Now, again, writing a method, I would, in general,
use the built-in autograder because it's just going to be a lot friendlier to use. But sometimes you want to do something extra special and you're not able to do it with what you have, especially if you're trying to integrate using other classes and such. So here would be an example of me doing that. So what you're going to do is you are going to write the method correctly. Okay, so this is me, and I've written the method correctly. Then I have all of my arguments here. Okay, so this is all of the arguments for the first time, the second time, and the third time. I put it in an object array, which allows me to put different types of things in there. And just remember, when you unpack, you're going to have to say what data type that you were grabbing. But what I'm doing is I'm looping through all of these, and I'm running my method over here, and I'm running my student's method over here, and I'm seeing if this matches this over here. Okay. So I don't have to do anything special over here. Let's check this out. Oops, is this the wrong thing? Well, we would just write the method here, public static string my method string s int x int y turn s plus x plus y. And if this matches, then this should do it right here. So it's running this with different different arguments. Okay. Here's one last one. This one, this is for advanced use. Okay. This is one I made when I started getting real comfortable with autograders. This is for grading classes, whole classes. So what I've done first is the class that I want them to write, I've made one right here. Okay, I made this copy of the class that I'm having them write. So I'm having them write a class called my class. And then this grader is doing lots of work. Okay, so let's talk through this. So we've got, again, we've got this guy, we've got several of these, and then we've got this at the end. So we've got our basic parts, but here's what I'm doing. This is checking to see if all of the variables are private. Okay, I'm using this guy up here to check these fields and check the modifiers of these fields to see if they're using the privacy modifier. So you can do some really detailed stuff once you get good at writing these and digging in. Here, and you may not want to get this fancy, but again, I have these objects that I've created, and then I've got these copies of the objects that I've created from my own version. So this is me constructing objects. If the students have messed up their constructor headers, these will fail, and you'll get an error. And the kids will be like, why am I getting an error? And it's like, well, do you have the right parameters on your constructor? And they probably don't. Okay, so this will check your constructors. Then we can check all of our accessors, our getters. So basically what I'm doing is I'm looping through all those objects that we just made, and I'm comparing I'm grabbing the object, and I'm running the getter on their object, and I'm running the getter on my object. And they'll either match or they don't. Or if they didn't name their thing correctly, it'll also fail. That's one of the things you have to be careful about autograders, is you have to tell them exactly what to name things. Okay? And then setters, okay, these are the things I'm going to set my values to. So I call the setters here, and then I see if the getter returns the value that it was supposed to be set to. So this is a lot. I'm going to give you all of these templates, but hopefully you have the basic idea.